What is up, everyone? This is Mr. Warren Hayes here, welcoming you to another edition, the second edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. Welcome. I just did that. I'm doing it again. I want you to feel extra special welcome. Thanks for joining me once again this week. Did it a first time last week. Enjoyed it so much, figured I'd do it a second time. What are we going to be doing this second time? Well, we're going to be doing, again, a review of Raw and SmackDown for the week of June 5th. Very interesting shows, very different shows. Yeah, I think we'll just jump right into it. What do you say, folks? Let's just jump right in. We're going to start with Raw. June 5th was coming from Houston, Texas. That's a big city. I've been told it's the fourth biggest city in the United States. And I learned from the person who told me that, I learned that Chicago was the third biggest city in the United States, and I didn't realize that. So that's interesting. You learn all sorts of interesting things. So Raw, yeah. We start off with Elias. Start off with a cold open on Elias. He says that he will become even more valuable to WWE when he becomes Intercontinental Champion at Money in the Bank, which I have a tendency to agree with, if we're being frank. He takes the time to remind us of what he did to Seth Rollins last week. Says he used the pain. He used the pain of using his best guitar on Seth's upper back to write a new song. And I thought that was funny. And I loved how he performed the song, and they showed replay images of the attack last week. You know, like if it was really some sort of gravitas heavy event. I thought that was a really nice touch. So he plays that along a bit, and then of course, burn it down. Seth Rollins comes out, and he doesn't look amused. He doesn't look like his usual fired up, energetic Seth Rollins. No, Seth looks a little mad this week. So he basically saunters menacingly around the ring, you know, very Shield-like. He goes all the way around the ring, pulls out a chair from beneath the ring. The chair is starting to become Seth's thing. He gets into the ring, and he and Elias have a standoff. Elias is holding his guitar like a Louisville Slugger. Seth has got his chair in hand. It's like, who's going to strike first? Who's going to hit first? Well, they strike at each other at the same time, and Elias's guitar just flies out of his hand. I don't know if it was meant to break, but instead it just flies away. And as so that's the guitar flies out of his hand, and as Seth is poised to strike, Jinder Mahal comes out of nowhere. Excuse me, that was a bit that wasn't scheduled. Jinder Mahal attacks Seth from behind. Roman Reigns' music hits, comes in for runs in for the save. I heard a substantial pop for when that happened. And I keep thinking that people really like the fact that Roman and Seth together reminds them of the Shield, and this is what they want. Well, I figured that's what they were popping for more than Roman. I don't know if I'm just saying that because it's Roman Reigns and we're used to saying that he's being booed everywhere out of the buildings and no one wants him around at all. I don't know if I'm just following that trend or not, but it seems to me he got a pop. And isn't that what's important, is that Jinder gets Roman gets a pop. So he fights off Elias and Jinder and Sunil Singh. And then Kurt Angle's music hits. Holla holla playa playa. There's a tag team match being set up right now between all four men in the ring. We cut to commercial on that. I thought it was a good segment. Started off the show well. Elias is gold, and I'm really buying into his feud with Seth. I really like it. I think it's a great pairing. When we come back from commercial, explosive Seth explodes. He hits a dive outside on Jinder. He gets double teamed by the Shield. Elias, at some point, when the heels start getting their mojo back on Seth, Elias hits a really rough clothesline on Rollins. That was a tough one. And then the story develops into a neck injury. Apparently, the guitar shot last week tweaked something in Seth's neck. So now that's what we have that's what we have for the story of the match. It's Seth having trouble with his neck. Seth gets the hot tag on Roman. Roman runs a rough shot on both heels. As Roman is tagged in, then you hear the boos. It was not that hot a tag, turns out. So that runs its course. We as we go to commercial, Mahal and Elias are back in control after a double team. As we're back on commercial, Elias has the nostril lock on Roman. That always looks weird to me. The heels are in control anyway. The tide starts to turn later in the match when Roman hits a Samoan drop on Jinder and he hot tags Seth, who hits a Thez press on Elias. Falcon Arrow on Elias as well. We're getting closer to the end here. We get Seth, who goes for the stomp on I think it's Jinder. Can't quite remember. Seth goes for the stomp, but he gets interrupted by Sunil Singh. Mahal throws Roman over the barricade outside. That was a pretty cool spot. Suicide dive from Seth on Mahal. Sunil Singh gets the chair. Seth rips it out of his hand. And Seth gets back into the ring where Elias is. Now we're really in the end. He gets back into the ring. The chair is already in the ring. And Elias basically hits the chair. It hits a DDT on the chair. Let me start over again. Give me a second here. I actually watched Raw. Chair is in the ring. Elias hits Rollins with a DDT directly on the chair, which Rollins sells like a monster. Elias picks Seth back up. He's not done with him. Hits the drift away. Beautiful, beautiful sell by Seth. 1, 2, 3 right in the middle of the ring. Elias wins. Aside from the fact that it's a little weird that there wasn't a DQ called because of the DDT on the chair, I thought this was a fine match and it was a great ending. Elias looks super strong. Super crafty. Super strong. I really, really like his feud with Seth. I think it's great. I thought the match was okay. It was serviceable. It was just the right amount of fun. But the story that was told towards the end, that Elias is a danger to Seth maybe even being a little danger to himself. I think this is setting up really nicely for Money in the Bank. I think I'd like to see Seth retain at Money in the Bank because I think this feud has enough fire to carry over into SummerSlam and give us a nice big stip match. I think I'd like that. There are rumors going around that Seth is poised to meet the absentee champ Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, which would be fantastic. But if that's not the plan, I am perfectly okay with another 4 to 5 weeks of Jinder Elias versus Seth. It's a good feud, and I buy into it. It's really good. Anyway, the match was fine, serviceable, a little slow paced, especially when you consider that Seth was in it, but it was fine. Back from commercial. Curtis Hawkins has tacos set up all nice outside the ring. He cuts a promo where he says, "I am currently at 0 and 199. And this is where the streak ends. I am not getting to 200 tonight. And to make sure that he didn't get to 200, he got a jobber in. He has an enhancement talent to make sure that he gets his win and breaks his streak so that he doesn't get the 200. And if he breaks his streak tonight, he's going to give tacos to the entire audience as well. Crowd gets really excited for that because honestly, who wouldn't cheer for free tacos? I can't remember the name of the jobber, but it's the look. I'm not a basketball fan. I don't listen to basketball, but the jobber had the same name as the Houston Rockets all-star player or something. And it's weird because on the SmackDown script, that wasn't the name he was supposed to use. I think it was Stephen Curry was his name, and I guess they changed it at the last minute because they wanted him to, I don't know, get a pop from the crowd, get the local support. But Kurt Hawkins is offering free tacos. You cheer for free tacos. I'd cheer for free tacos. Everyone would cheer for free tacos above anything else. I'd cheer for free tacos over the cure for cancer. And so would you. Well, it's not much of a match, right? It's a squash match. Eventually, Baron Corbin's music hits before Curtis can finish the job. Kurt Hawkins. Why do I keep calling him Curtis? Kurt Hawkins. Before he can get the job done. Baron Corbin's music hits. He comes down, hits the end of days on the jobber, forcing the DQ. And he's very satisfied with himself. The spoiler, Baron Corbin. I actually think that should be his new nickname. Came in and spoiled the party, not only for Kurt Hawkins, but for everyone in the audience, because no one gets tacos. That's a heel move right there. That is number one dick move. No tacos for anyone. That get out of here. Get out of here. And Hawkins goes to confront Corbin, but eventually Corbin just gets all the tacos or puts Kurt Hawkins through the table where all the tacos were set up, and that was inevitable. Of course, we saw that coming. I would actually love to see Kurt Hawkins push this a little more and have a little mini side feud with Corbin, because I think it'd be great if from this point on, Hawkins wanted to break his losing streak on Corbin because of this. I think that would be great, but this would not be the last we'd see of Baron Corbin in the evening, so I'm not sure that's exactly going to happen. I like this segment. I thought it was great. It hit all the right notes, and it established Corbin for what was to happen a little later on actually right after the commercial. We see Corbin with Kurt Angle in the back. Corbin says that he's been to Stamford. He's talked directly with Stephanie McMahon, and she wrote out a letter that Corbin pulled out, a letter to read to Kurt Angle, and basically saying that Stephanie wanted to have a series of checks and balances now on Raw because she's not quite sure about Kurt Angle's governing style, and she is appointing Corbin as the constable of Raw, which essentially, in my opinion, or in what I've seen, makes him a snitch, makes him a corporate snitch. I think that's great. And I really think Baron Corbin is going to enjoy that role. I really do. And I think it fits him well, especially with what he just did. With what he just did to Kurt Hawkins, but what he's been doing over the past couple of weeks, with No Way Jose cutting promos and saying, my job here is to make sure no one has fun. Basically, he says, I hate when people have fun. My job is to ruin people's lives. I think this is going to suit him perfectly. Constable Corbin. I'm all in on that. All in. All right. Now, I think this is the part. This is where the show started going downhill. Ronda Rousey comes out and gets on commentary. And it's not because Ronda Rousey is on commentary necessarily that things start going downhill. She comes out on commentary for the Nia Jax versus Natalya match. Nia Jax versus Natalya, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. And I wish I could come out and say in full confidence, this was fine. It was okay. There were some good. It was sloppy. It was just sloppy, and it's odd because Natalya is such a good hand and such a ring general. But it was sloppy, and it just lacked energy. And I don't know if it's Nia's style, because Nia is still working as a heel, although the fact she's a babyface, but we're not even sure she's a babyface. Like she's I don't know. I have trouble with the way she works now that she's champ. I don't know. There's something lacking here. There's trouble. I guess the highlights of the match, and everyone's pretty much covered it already. Talked about it on their own reviews, and it's been doing the rounds on Twitter as well. When Ronda Rousey uses the line, ripe for the picking is something only my husband calls me. But personally, it's not the fact that she used that line that I thought was a little out of place and a little cringy. But she did it twice. She did it before commercial, and then, she did it one time, and then Corey Graves set her up a second time to do the line again. And she did the exact same line. She said it twice. It was the worst thing. It was the worst line. It was so terrible the first time. What, you think we didn't get it? Get the innuendo the first time? You should want to make sure I don't know. I don't know. It was just weird. I will say Natalya hits a beautiful discus clothesline on Nia that takes her right down, flat on her back. 1, 2, 3. Anyway, match ends when Natty jumps over Nia after hitting that pin attempt and starts getting fired up. Jumps over Nia and tweaks her knee. So she can't continue the match, or she's injured. And then Nia takes advantage and hits the Samoan drop for the pin. And then after, Natalya is selling the injury. Nia feels bad in a really bad acting kind of way. Ronda comes down to show her concern and support her friend, but Nia tries to show concern, and Ronda pushes her back. She's like, "Look, I'm here being concerned for her. You go away." And it's just really weird. It's strange because they start getting in each other's face over who gets to be concerned for Natalya. Can't you both be? Anyway, Natalya hobbles her way back to the ring to the backstage area with Ronda. I don't know. I'm not sure where this is going exactly. Aside maybe from Natalya turning on Ronda, which I really think is something that should happen. Because maybe Natalya is getting jealous because Natalya is putting out the matches and getting hurt. Because this isn't the first time they do this kind of angle where Natalya gets hurt in the ring. Tweaked her leg after jumping over someone. I'll get back to the leg tweaking thing a little later on. Bobby Roode cuts a really tedious promo. Turn him heel now. A whole lot of nothing. And then when we're back from commercial, we have Bobby Roode versus Braun Strowman, which was one of our announced matches for the night. Braun comes out first. Big pop. Then Bobby Roode comes in. Wait, we didn't come back from... I don't know. No, I messed up in my notes. I don't think we came back from commercial and then had the match. I think the match started. I think the entrances happened and then we went to commercial. Listen, I'm hard pressed to call this a match. It was like a squashy thing for Braun. Braun gets all his usual super offense in, but he did hit a double underhook suplex on Rude. And man, I do not remember Braun pulling this move off. And this is what I really, really like about Braun Strowman. This guy is not content on doing the same thing week after week. He's trying new stuff out. He's keeping himself interesting and surprising. This surprised me. I popped for this. Whoa! I was not expecting that. That was great. Yes, he'll do his usual, okay, I get thrown into the turnbuckle spot because that's what he does. But man, seeing that double underhook suplex, that was surprising. I like that. Rude mounts a comeback using Braun's size against him, and then he runs out of the ring and goes for a ladder. He sets it out transversal up on the barricade, across the barricade to the ring. And I guess because he was afraid that Braun would do the shoulder tackle thing, or the around the ring shoulder tackle thing, which is a shame he didn't get to do because I think it's great. It really should be one of his top signature moves. And he ducks on. Braun is coming after him. Bobby ducks under the ladder and goes on the other side and basically starts taunting Braun. And Braun basically could have just gone the other way, could have slid into the ring back out, could have just pushed the ladder aside. But no, not Braun Strowman. God damn it. Braun Strowman lifts his arms over his head and just beats the ladder down. He smashes it in two. And I liked it because it had been a while since we'd seen a Braun feat of strength. I really liked that. He eventually catches up with Bobby, beats him up, running power slime. Running power slam. And good night, Bobby Roode. It wasn't much of a match, but it was entertaining for what it was. Backstage promo with KO. Basically wondering why everyone wants to be in Balor Club. He doesn't understand what Balor Club is. Too sweet. What is too sweet? I don't understand what too sweet is. We're back from commercial, and Natty is Rhonda's checking on Natty backstage, who's icing her leg. Nia comes over, and they start fighting over the fact that everyone is Natty's friend. I'm her friend. No, I'm her friend. Now, the thing is that legitimately, Nia and Natalia are legit friends. If you follow either of their Instagrams or their Twitters, they're always doing stuff together. They dance together, and they put their videos of them dancing with each other on the social media. I don't know why. We're supposed to buy into Rhonda all that much being such a good friend. I think this might actually lead, or it should lead. I think their match, instead of being a world championship match at Money in the Bank between Nia and Rhonda, it should be a winner gets to be friends with Natalia. I didn't like it. Renee Young invites the Deleters of Worlds to the ring, your Raw Tag Team Champions. And it was a very throwaway segment, very throwaway interview. Bray says, anyone who fights them will not only face men, but working warriors and fireflies and gods, and will understand what it means to be woken. Matt goes on to ask Renee if she considers herself woken, and she goes, yes. And Matt demands a standing woken ovation. A standing woken ovation? I like wordplay. Yeah. It wasn't much of a segment, but that led us into that would be the introduction to the Tag Team Battle Royal. Right, so the Battle Royal, the Tag Team Battle Royal to determine the number one contenders for the Raw Tag Team Championships. We have Slater and Rhino, we have the Revival, we have the Ascension, we have Breezango, we have Titus Worldwide, we have the B Team, and we have Dolph and Drew. Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, who were tossed into this mix. No Authors of Pain! What the actual hell? So much for these 6-month plans for every NXT call-up, unless the 6-month plan includes 4 weeks of doing absolutely nothing. No, this is a rant for another time. I'm not getting into this right now. This episode of Raw's not worth it. It's not worth stretching this shit out. Slater and Rhino. Okay, so, but basically, I was surprised that Dolph and Drew were in this match. And it actually threw a monkey wrench into my booking brain. I was like obviously, what happened last week or the past couple of weeks, but especially last week with the barbecue, which I've been told should have actually been called a cookout. Apparently there's a difference. I've been told, and people out there, please feel free to course correct, because it's important that the proper terms are yours. Apparently there's a difference between a cookout and a barbecue. What we saw last week, even though there wasn't any real cooked food, was more of a cookout, because at a barbecue you're actually supposed to have barbecues. Now, like a barbecue, like brisket, or it's not just steaks. You don't just put steaks on a grill and call it a barbecue. That's a cookout, huh? But it seems to me they had ribs in the ring last week. Anyway, it's still interesting because apparently just throwing steaks on a grill doesn't count as a barbecue. It's a cookout. Coming back to my original point, I think it was pretty established last week that the reason for this battle royal was to help get the B team into number one contendership. That was the story they were telling. But seeing Dolph and Drew in there sort of got me thinking. I was like, oh, wait a second. Are they going to swerve us? Because Dolph and Drew are on an upswing. They're legitimate. They convince us that they're good. All right. Well, I might actually buy into it. But no, they're actually the first team to be eliminated. Dolph keeps doing his, I've almost been eliminated trick 3 times. But then Tyler Breeze actually knocks him out. And then Drew in the ring realizes what happens and destroys everyone. And I'm okay with that. Because I love Drew McIntyre. I want him to be my cousin. My cousin. Look, this was bad. This was awful. It wasn't, battle royals, tag team battle royals. They put a lot of effort in the Royal Rumble to create actual stories and things happening, but most battle royals that we see on Raw and SmackDown, they're just such throwaway events. And again, this was very much an example. I'm pointing at my notes. You don't see my notes, but I'm like, this was bad. It wasn't fun. It wasn't good. There was a whole bunch of eliminations. Basically, it ends when Heath Slater picks up Bo Dallas into a slam position and actually turns around and actually hits Rhino, who's on the apron, and actually hits Rhino with Heath's feet, Bo Dallas's feet, knocking Rhino off the apron and eliminating him. So the B team are the number one contenders. I can't see Matt and Bray losing their first PPV title defense to the B team. Weirder things have happened in WWE, but, I don't know. They're doing nothing with Matt and Bray anyway right now, so they might as well toss the titles on to someone else. I don't know. But it would feel weird. But We'll talk about Money in the Bank predictions another time. But this wasn't good. It was boring. I think the word is what we're looking for. Back from commercial. Back from commercial. Bobby Lashley heads to the ring in a suit. Someone said on Twitter that he looks like he's about to be drafted. He looks like he's looking to be drafted in the NFL. Oh, and okay. And this segment started. I liked the beginning of this segment when Sammy got involved. Bobby's in the ring. First of all, okay. Why did we do a segment where Bobby Lashley was going to react to Sami Zayn last week? Because last week, Bobby Lashley reacted already to what Sami Zayn had done the week before with the sisters. We had already had Bobby Lashley's reaction. Why did he have to come back and react again to something he had already reacted to? He gets into the ring and he basically calls Sami out. Sami's music hits. He never comes out through the entrance. He's in the audience. Now, this is where it started off well. And I thought, oh, there might be actually something here. Sami complains on the handshake that he gave to Bobby last week, and Bobby crushed his hand, and his hand is all bandaged up. And he says, yeah, you've ruined my hand. I can't even hold this microphone. I couldn't even cook the organic tofu steaks I have in my house. And I thought that was funny. Right? I thought it was funny. I can't even hold a microphone. And then he started making fun of Bobby Lashley's use of inspirational quotes on Instagram. And I liked it because that stuff is really, really tacky. Apologies to anyone who posts inspirational quotes on their social media. That's entirely up to you, and I'm fine with it. Whatever floats your boat. But for me, most of these quotes are so vapid and meaningless and cookie cutter, and there's nothing. So when he decided to start making fun of that, I thought that was funny. I really thought that was funny. But what pissed me off, I'm angry man. What pissed me off is that Bobby Lashley sort of smiled through the whole thing, thinking it was a joke himself. Man, Zayn is attacking your integrity. He starts making fun of your fan club. And by the way, $20 for a headband? I hope that headband is made of, I don't know, Bobby Lashley's grandma's hair. Sometimes I try, and I try too hard. Anyway, this was awful because so I was like, okay, thank God Sami is saving the segment. That's what it's felt like. But then they got into the stuff about the burner accounts, obviously a reference to again, shit that's happening in basketball, which I barely know about because it just pops up on my timeline and I think it's funny and I don't understand what the real implications are of it. Stuff about burner accounts, stuff about, oh man, it all went downhill and it became a rambling mess. Bobby was in the ring at some point and saying, but Sami, what are you doing? What are you doing, Sami? Sami! And, the entire world was wondering what's going on. This ship continues to sink. I hope that we get the Money in the Bank match and we never have to think about this feud ever again. And I hope the damage isn't too bad on Bobby Lashley because my God, they're killing him. I think I mentioned this last week. We talk about how creative mishandles most of their call-ups from NXT. Well, Bobby Lashley, right now, they're fumbling so hard with him. It's preposterous. You'd swear he was in NXT. People on social media a few weeks ago, when a few months now when they announced that EC3 was going to head to NXT and Bobby Lashley was going to head up to main. People were like, well, how come? Why is EC3 heading to NXT? Look, right now, EC3 is much better off in NXT, and he's doing a primo job, and he's probably going to be feuding with Johnny Gargano after TakeOver here. Wow, right? The hell are they doing with Bobby Lashley? How do you mess up sure things? God damn. And we're shocked every time it happens. We're surprised every time that WWE on the main roster has something, a sure thing in their hands, and they manage to bungle it, and we're shocked every time. We shouldn't be surprised anymore. I gotta move on. Anyway, this segment was terrible. Backstage promo with Jinder Mahal. Then they cut to Roman, and Roman and Jinder start talking to each other from their different locations. How are they even hearing each other if they're in different parts of the building? Roman is he's checked out. He feels like he's checked out. There's no fire. There's nothing. I like the part, like Jinder right now is playing the heel, the heel who has who's being truthful, who's speaking what everyone's thinking. You know, when Roman says that he's entitled, not that he's entitled, but that he's being, all his opportunities are being taken away. He's not being given opportunities. He's being screwed over by management. And Jinder's like, what the hell, man? You've been getting opportunity over opportunity, and you've been bungling them. It's not no one else. Anyway, Jinder invites Roman to find him so that they can settle this face to face, and Roman does after asking for directions. I'm going to go find you right now. And turns around. There's two guys there. Where's Jinder? Oh, he's over that way. Oh, towards the camera? Yeah. Oh, okay. And they brawl backstage, and it's very short. Look, they're doing a good job with this feud. There's no way, no two ways about it. WWE is doing a good job with Roman versus Jinder. I'm into it. I'm liking it. I'm still wondering if they're going to pull a double turn at Money in the Bank. The 2 weeks ago when Roman, when Jinder was getting bandaged up and says, no, I can't, I have to compete tonight, but medical staff was saying, no, you shouldn't compete. You should rest. No, I have to go. I have to do my match. And he gets up and he walks over to the ring to do it, to actually compete in his match. That's such a babyface thing to do. Roman attacks him out of nowhere, powers him through a wall. That's such a heel thing. I'm thinking, okay, are they setting us up for a double turn? Might still happen at Money in the Bank. That would actually be really cool. Anyway, it was a good, nice little brawl. Fine segment. I think they're doing a good job with the feud. 6-woman tag match because, of course, on Raw, the women's division is booked as a division. Only the champion gets individual airtime and her challenger. But as for the rest of the girls, the women, as for the rest of the women, no, you're all one lump sum. No need to develop actual characters so that we could actually be invested in the women's division because of the wrestlers who are there. No, the women's division, in and about itself. That's the biggest thing. That's the draw. 6-woman tag match. Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks, Ember Moon against the Riot Squad. Listen, if I didn't care much for this match, but there are some good moments, and I think what we're going to start with are the negatives. First of all, the crowd is dead because this is the segment that this is what followed Lashley Zayn. How do you follow up from that? The crowd was completely dead. There's no way you can recover from that. Leg tweak angles are overdone. This is crap. That's how Carmella beat Charlotte, right? tweaking her leg. Oh, in the ring. Then that's how she beat Charlotte. Then we have it twice in one night here on Raw. Twice in one night with the women. Alexa probably faking it, of course, but I hurt my leg. And then she can't compete. She leaves. She's the heel on the babyface team. So she leaves. Ends up it's a 3-on-2, the Riot Squad against Ember Moon and Sasha Banks. But that's beside the point. The point is, this angle is overused and it's dumb and it makes the women look weak. It's stupid. And from a creative standpoint, it's dry. They've dried up the well already. They can't use this anymore. You got to stop that shit. The ending is something else that I didn't quite get. Bayley running in to take Alexa Bliss's place. Sasha all too happy to hot tag her in, while Sasha could have been like, wait, what the hell are you doing here? You're not in the match. This isn't going to work. So you can't pin all the blame on Bayley. We'll come back to that in a second. I didn't like the ending. I thought it was dumb. Bayley to Bayley on Logan for the win. But and the last thing, I find Sasha Banks' offense, and I've noticed this for a couple of months now, leading into WrestleMania. Her offense looks soft. And I'm wondering if she's pulling back a bit because of what happened with Paige. But Sasha right now delivers some of the most unconvincing offense in the entire women's division. And she shouldn't be, because she is one of the top women. And we know she can be better than this. But right now, everything she does looks half-hearted. It looks pulled back. She's not convincing me that she's a top performer right now. This is not the Sasha Banks we all grew to love through NXT and her excellent feud with Charlotte last year or the year before. Now, time gets jumbled. Yeah. I don't know. But what was really good was Ember Moon and Ruby Riott. And if you're not sold on Ruby Riott yet, I don't know what needs to be done. And I want Ember and Ruby to feud. They were great. They had the best spots in the entire. They had the best spots in the entire match. We're back from commercial, and the celebrating team of Ember Moon, Bayley, and Sasha Banks are backstage, and they're happy. And Ember cuts a very weird, out of character promo for her. Anyway, and then, before this, right? I remember before we get to this segment, when Bayley got the win, I tweeted out like, Constable Corbin has to do something about the officiating in WWE, right? Because this is preposterous. A ref beforehand, earlier in the night, let a DDT on a chair go by without disqualifying the team, and now he's letting a complete outsider win a match when she wasn't even involved in the match. Constable Corbin, get involved in this. Oh, they do a segment straight after the match where Corbin is like, looks at Kurt Angle's like, are you going to stand for this? And Kurt Angle's like, and Corbin's like, dude, you have to go tell them this isn't going to stand. I thought that was great. And I was like, I should work on creative. So then that leads us to the next segment where the three women are celebrating. They're happy. And Bayley and Sasha are actually smiling at each other. And Kurt comes and he says, girls, I don't know how to tell you this. Bayley, you weren't involved in the match. No one, you didn't win the match. Your W has been stricken from the record. Right. And then everyone gets super disappointed. And Sasha gives Bayley this look. And then she walks away and Bayley sort of looks completely dejected. Basically, Bayley Charlie Browned herself. Thought she was doing something good, but then everyone's like... And Sasha has as much to blame in this. She was all too eager to tag her in. I just mentioned this before, and I'm going to say it now because this is where this is the part of the show where that comment actually applies. Sasha reached over for Bayley's tag to get out of the ring to tag Bayley in, where she could have actually been like, wait, what? What are you doing here? Sasha is as much to blame in this situation, if not the person to blame. They should pull the trigger on this feud, though. Man, this has got to... Like, we get it, all right? We get it. I don't know what it's building to. I don't know what it's building to. But it's time. On Twitter, with the good folks at Fansided DDT, the Daily DDT, great site, great people. At some point, a couple of weeks ago, I tweeted out, this is kind of like... on Friends, with Chandler and what's her name? Ramona. I have passing knowledge of Friends, of the show Friends. And basically was making an analogy to these long will they, won't they storylines, that they drag out on television. The thing is that when in sitcoms and shows like Friends where they had these will they, won't they, like Cheers back in the 80s, with Sam and Diane, they actually build around this drama instead of just giving us little events where they're sort of catty at each other. They actually show that they want to be friends. And then something happens that keep them from taking that one step more, and they don't that one step closer. And it's not always encapsulated into 2-minute segments. There's actual build, actual character building, and they don't give Sasha or Bayley enough time to build characters. And damn it, they lose matches right and left. I don't know what they're doing. Very honestly. We had a nice little moment with Big Show promoting nice to see Big Show, by the way, looking fit. I recently watched the Great American Bash 1996, which you can actually watch on FightfulSelect.com. If you're a FightfulSelect.com member, you can see my lovely face there with Sean Ross Sapp talking about where we do a retro review of WCW Great American Bash. You should check it out. It was a lot of fun, and it was an interesting card too. But anyway, I digress. The point is that I saw Big Show back in 1996, and he still didn't look as good as he does today. Show is such in perfect shape right now. Looks great. So they do something really nice with the USA Special Olympic Games, which is really cool. Then after as Big Show concludes the segment, Finn Balor's theme hits. Balor Club is for everyone. And he comes out with the athletes, the Special Olympians who are there from Team USA, from Team Texas actually, which I really thought I thought that was a well-produced segment and was a nice feel-good moment. They didn't go overboard. I think it was really good. And he starts sweeting everyone, and then they do the Finn Balor move with the theme. I thought it was really cool. It was I thought that was fun. Which leads us to the main event: Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens. Someone needs to tell Michael Cole that NXT is part of WWE. First time ever, but he did correct himself probably a little later on, saying the first time on Raw, right? Okay, but it wasn't the first time ever. These guys had crazy matches in NXT for the NXT Championship, and I guess we all sort of, those of us who were familiar with those matches, were maybe looking forward to this match a little more than we should have, because it turned out to be a headlock match. Lots of headlocks. It worked. The headlock style worked so well for Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe at Backlash. Hey, we should try this again. People love this kind of match. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. It just wasn't. And it disappoints me. Basically, Raw ended in the way that we all expect Raw to. It was the perfect encapsulation of what I generally feel about Raw. I get excited about things, and then it happens, and I'm like, Kevin starts the match with some stalls. If I'm going to point out a couple of highlights, I love a good stall. I am a mark for a good stall. I think it's not a lot of people do it well. It's such an old school heel move, and not a lot of people do it well. Kevin Owens is the best staller currently in the business. No one does it like him. I love me a good stall. So he does that at first. Then they start actually fighting, and then they quickly fall into rest holds and headlocks. And I just lose my mind because these guys can be so much better. So much better. Ending comes when Balor goes up for a coup de grace on Kevin Owens, but Kevin runs into the ropes to crotch Balor on the top rope. Balor hangs himself in the tree of woe, and Kevin Owens starts stomping on him. Referee gives him warnings. Kevin Owens pays no mind and gets DQ'd. Lots of wonky finishes tonight. Lots of DQs. It felt like I was back in the Attitude Era. Kevin hits a frog splash after the bell by DQ. Then he goes for a ladder. Climbs to the ladder. Climbs the ladder. Hello, everyone. I speak the English. Climbs the ladder. Wants to jump onto Balor, but he chokes. He can't do it. And I thought that was really cool because it's exactly like it was exactly when he tried to jump off the Hell in the Cell onto Shane, and he was I can't do it. You remember that? And he couldn't bring himself to do it. And I think that's a nice continuation. I like this being consistent like that. So he comes down a couple of rungs and he still can't do it, but seems to me he lowered himself. He came down a couple of rungs and he seemed to be like on the same level as the top rope of the ring. I don't know why he chickened out there, but it was still funny. Well, then Finn just tosses him down, and then Finn goes to the top of the ladder and hits the coup de grace, reminding us of that ladder match that he had in NXT against Kevin Owens, where he did the same thing. I guess that means that Finn Balor's not going to win Money in the Bank. That's my prediction. Nice coup de grace, though. That was fun. Then he goes to the top to grab the Money in the Bank briefcase. I don't think Finn is winning. This was not a good episode of Raw. It was very confusing. Lots of wonky finishes. Lots of boring segments. Messy matches or good matches or good pair-ups that didn't deliver. It was tedium to get through this episode. I thought the first match did a pretty good job. Did a good job at selling the stories that they had to sell. I loved the Kurt Hawkins segment. I thought that what they did with Corbin was a highlight, and I'm looking forward to see how they're going to work this over the next few weeks. Otherwise, everything was pretty much cookie cutter. Oh, and the way they're still building the Roman and Jinder feud, I like it. I wouldn't say I'm completely invested in it, but I'm interested. That's something. Make me feel something, WWE. WWE responds by, well, Warren, if you want to feel something, why not watch the June 6th edition of SmackDown Live from Corpus Christi, Texas? I did, and man, did I feel stuff. It was fun. This was a fun SmackDown. This was good. This got me hyped. Show opens with Carmella, who had promised to expose Asuka. And this had me worried. These exposing angles. WWE doesn't have a good history with them. And very recently, very poor history. Very poor execution. So I was very worried as how this was going to go. She comes in, she says, you deserve to know the truth about Asuka. So they show a hype package, the Asuka hype package that they were running up to WrestleMania, basically, with her undefeated streak, everyone she's beaten in NXT, winning the Women's Royal Rumble, winning the Survivor, being the last Survivor on the Survivor Series women's match. Great stuff. It was fun to see all of that again. And reminded us, re-injected some Asuka magic, if you ask me. Followed by another package which underscored her losses, her two recent losses, her loss against Charlotte at WrestleMania and the tag team match that she lost on SmackDown. So I'm thinking, who is Carmella actually trying to expose here? Because I feel that what Carmella is doing is exposing WWE's poor booking decisions. So that brings Asuka out, and that brings Mandy Rose out, flanked by Sonya Deville. Mandy has a mic. She wants another shot at Asuka. Sonya Deville wants a shot at Asuka. Paige comes out. Holla holla. No, not quite holla holla, but basically everyone's requesting a match against Asuka. Well, everyone. Not Carmella, because she already has her match. But the former Absolution members are requesting a match. So Paige comes out and says, look, I make the matches here. Mandy, you want a match? Sonya, you want a match? Let's let Asuka decide, who do you want to fight? And Asuka grabs the mic and says, give me them both, or something like that. And anyway, she got both. It turned into a handicap match. So Paige makes the match right then and there. Thank God. I like this segment. I thought it got into business really quickly and served to tell the story of Asuka. It's like, no, what they needed to do is look, Asuka hasn't lost her form. She's still everything we know and love about her. Just needs a little jump start. So I really like the segment. I was terrified. You know what I was actually thinking this was going to turn into? Because since Carmella had been, the hype was that she was going to expose Asuka behind the mask. Who's the lady behind the mask? And I thought that they were going to do what Jinder Mahal did with during his feud with Shinsuke Nakamura last year, where they just plaster still shots of Nakamura pulling faces while in the ring and then laughing at it. I thought they were going to do that. That, to me, they did it 2 weeks in a row, if you remember last year. Those were terrible. Terrible segments. People got riled up because at some point he was being a little racist while imitating doing Godzilla jokes or whatever. I don't quite remember, but to me the racism wasn't even that bad. It was terribly insulting and boring. It was just insulting to all our intelligence. Putting still frames up and mocking someone. It was anyway. I was afraid that they were going to do that, but they didn't. They did something good. Very short segment. There wasn't anything. The exposing thing didn't go on forever, and we got right into a handicap match: Asuka versus Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Look, Sonya Deville. I've said this since she joined WWE, since she got up on main roster. She has a very high ceiling in the women's division. She's good. She's always been good, and she's going to get better. Look at what she did in the ring with Asuka on SmackDown Live. This lady has all the potential in the world, and I actually want to see Sonya and Asuka in a program. I want this, and I was thrilled after the match. Sonya tweeted out, I want a rematch against Asuka. She was asking for a rematch against Asuka. I want to fight Asuka one-on-one. And I'm like, yes, I want you guys to have a program together. I want you guys to feud. This was great. They have a great grappling sequence at the start, and Sonya did a great slam takedown, but Asuka reversed it into a leg lock, and that was really good. She had to scramble to the ropes to break up the lock. Lots of quick tags between the heels. Asuka hit a beautiful missile drop kick at some point. Fantastic kick spot between Sonya and Asuka where they both traded a kick. They blocked each other's kick, and then they sort of went they hulked up and they both just kicked each other right on the chin, and they both got laid out. That was good. There's great chemistry between Sonya and Asuka. That was really, really good. Bit of a botch where Deville took a kick to the face. There was an amazing spear by Sonya Deville. My God. There's dudes on the main roster who'd like to hit a spear like that. That was great. Match finishes once Asuka gets Sonya in the Asuka lock. She taps. That's the win. Carmella comes back in for what we feel is going to be another pose down. Mandy distracts Asuka. Asuka takes her out, but Carmella smashes her across the head with the belt, and she leaves on top. She moonwalks. Is that where she moonwalks on the commentator's desk? Listen. Carmella does what she has to do. She annoys the living hell out of me, and that's what she needs to do. She's the heel. She's the champ. She's the heel champ. It was good to see Asuka back in form like this, working such a great match with Sonya. They have great chemistry. I want to see more of Asuka and Sonya Deville together. We go backstage where the New Day come approach Miz to apologize for being goofballs. You know, they know that Miz was just trying to be serious, you know, to try and find out which one of those three is going to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Look, you're going to help us decide. They have a hat. They have the names of the New Day in the hat. And he said, look, you get to pick, and that'll be the person. And Miz is like, oh, okay, cool. But then the New Day pull his headband over his eyes. And no peeking. And then they switch the hat for a hat that's full of pancake batter. Miz puts his hand in the pancake batter. And he's like, no. It was so good. Everyone's reactions here were perfect. Big E looked like he was having an orgasm. And everyone's reaction was perfect. And Miz starts pointing his fingers at the New Day, slopping them with pancake batter. That was a fun segment. I thought it was great. Never break up the New Day. Back from commercial, we have Luke Harper versus Carl Anderson to help hype up the tag team championship match at Money in the Bank. Not much of a match, quite unfortunately, and I was a bit disappointed because both Luke Harper and Carl Anderson are fantastic. So it was mostly Luke Harper getting in his power offense, and he gets some nasty strikes. He's a fast worker. Carl Anderson didn't do much, got the roll up for the win. Like I said, it wasn't much of a match. The win came out of nowhere. I would have really liked this to go on a little bit. This would have entertained me. It was fine. I guess we needed more time for the mixed tag match. Jimmy Uso and Naomi do a promo backstage. The Usos smile too much now. Now they're fully entrenched as baby faces. And I think that the tweener flip-flop thing, you're not quite sure on which side they are. I think that worked best for them. Now they're just like happy guys. I like their thug aspect more. That they're just out to kick people around, beat people up. This is our house. Now there's a lot of smiling going on in WWE, and that's fine. I think too many wrestlers smile too much. Bobby Roode smiles too much. Ronda Rousey smiles too much. Finn smiles too much. And the Usos shouldn't smile this much. That's not why we love them. Anyway. Jimmy Uso and Naomi versus Aiden English and Lana. Aiden comes out and does a little song for Lana and finishes with Lana is the best. Lana number one. Aiden needs his audience sing-along song. Rusev Day. And Lana is the best, Lana number one. These are things that have to happen now. Aiden needs his. It was an okay match. I liked how the match started off, and Jimmy starts, he chops Aiden in the throat, gives him a throat strike, and he backs away. It's my money maker, Oos. I thought that was funny. It was an okay match. It was fine. Entertaining, fun, not much to it. Look, Lana's improved. She's seems to me the last time we actually saw her wrestle was on an edition of SmackDown, and I think she was still semi-managing Tamina, and she was in a match and it was terrible, and the audience was chanting, "You can't wrestle." It was a disaster. She's improved. She's not great. She's not good, but she's improved. You can tell that she's not there yet because of the elbow drops she was hitting. Those weren't very good. But she's more confident, She has more ring presence. She's able to get things done a little better. She's improved. She's actually getting better. Lana ducked some kicks from Naomi. Naomi was the MVP of this match. There was she hit a Thez press over Jimmy Uso. Well, I think she actually jumped off of him or something. Thez press, that was amazing. She hit this crazy crossbody to the outside on both Aiden and Lana, and she gets the super kick on Lana for the win. She really was the MVP of the match. It was fun. She really pulled. She really put on a great performance. It was okay for what it was. Match ended with Aiden clutching his throat. Wonder if they're going to do an angle with that. The backstage contract signing again, a segment that I was loathing, that I wasn't looking forward to, but damn, it was good. So good. You had the classic setup. First of all, they did it backstage, which at first I thought was weird. Why aren't they doing it out in the ring in front of everyone? This is boring, But no. They did the signing, and man, Nakamura was. Look, everyone's been raving about his heel work, but he seems to kick it up a notch every week. Heel Nakamura is the best Nakamura. This is great what he's doing. He's such an asshole. AJ signs the contract, hands it over. There's another pen in the little file thing. Nakamura pulls out the pen. Looks, this pen is out of ink. He tosses it. So AJ gives him his pen. Could I borrow your pen? AJ gives him his pen. He starts looking at this angle. And, is it even, This pen is broken, and he tosses the pen. This pisses off AJ, who slaps him. And he has to get carried off. Dean Malenko's like, no, dude, you take it easy. And they carry AJ off the set. And Shinsuke pulls out a pen from his inside pocket and signs. Oh, that was so spot on, money, perfect. Damn. And it's setting up the story that Nakamura is in AJ's head. AJ is losing control. He's getting his emotions. His emotions are getting the best of him. And honestly, at this stage, I am completely fine with AJ losing the match at Money in the Bank and Nakamura winning the title. Actually, that has to happen. But the way they've been telling the story up to this point is perfect. Nakamura is getting to AJ. AJ's losing his cool. But Nakamura's not. He's got his head screwed on great, screwed on tight. He knows what he's doing. That's this. If they keep this story up, and this is what they deliver to us at Money in the Bank, perfect. This is perfect. Everything they've been doing with this feud since WrestleMania is gold. And honestly, let's be perfectly frank with each other here. Nakamura's been carrying this feud. AJ's a little stale on the mic. His promos haven't been... AJ's never been a big promo guy, but right now his promos all sound alike. But there was fire here. This was good. I love this segment. We get Charlotte versus Becky Lynch. I want to point out one thing. When a lot of us, I'm including myself, a lot of us want WWE to do more with Becky because we love Becky. Becky is an untapped resource. And we have a tendency online to say, WWE doesn't know what they have in Becky Lynch. They don't know her value. I disagree as of last night, because last night, Becky versus Charlotte had its own hashtag. So you can't tell me from this point on that WWE doesn't understand the value of Becky Lynch or Charlotte Flair, but we already knew that they see a lot of value in Charlotte. But you can't deny that they don't understand the value of Becky Lynch. They wouldn't have created that hashtag specifically for that match. There were no real stakes either, right? It wasn't a title match. It was just Becky versus Charlotte. They know what they have. I think they just want to save these matches for some special moments. Anyway, the match itself started off a little rough. Like, it wasn't their best match together. It wasn't their best match, and I think that once we got towards the end, then it really started to pick up. Once they got their initial "we're still friends," chain wrestling things. I think once that got out of the way, the match really picked up. Because at first it was a little on the rough side. The leg spot where they both were holding each other's legs and they're like, "Put it down, no, you put it down, put it down on the count of 3. I like that. That was a nice touch. Thought it was fun. Charlotte turned a European uppercut into a backslide. That was nice. Ending came with a beautiful transition from Charlotte applying the figure 8 on Becky. Becky did a beautiful transition into the disarmor for the win. Charlotte tapping. A much, much, much needed win for Becky Lynch. I think all of us, me first, was really happy to have her pick up a win. I think this seals her fate for Money in the Bank, though. But a win is a win, and it was an okay match. It wasn't the greatest match. It was good. Man, Samoa Joe on promo work is always a highlight. I mean, he's so good. His cadence is excellent. He's so menacing, naturally menacing. He knows he's comfortable with who he is. He knows what his character is. He knows what he has to do. Joe has to win Money in the Bank now. That's the thing, however, is that he has to win Money in the Bank. Because the conviction that he puts in his promos and his abilities will only go so far. He has to start winning matches. When he says, "I can beat Roman," and he doesn't, it chips away. When he says he's the only one who can beat Brock Lesnar, and he can't, it chips away. If he's going to win Money in the Bank, if he says he's going to win Money in the Bank, he has to win it. I'll talk about it when I do predictions on another occasion. But man, of course, he climbed up the ladder. He took the briefcase down. So a lot of people, I myself have a little trouble dealing with it, but it's probably a death warrant as far as a victory goes. But man. Anyway, Renee Young conducts an interview with Big Cass, who comes out in his suit. Weird emplacement. Like they were facing the Titantron, right? They were like, the audience was Cass had his back turned to the audience and he was facing the Titantron. And while he was cutting his promo, he was looking around, he was going, talking, just as if he was addressing a crowd, but he was facing the Titantron. That was weird. You should be just looking into the camera then, or looking at Renee. He tells a WrestleMania 30 story about walking behind Daniel Bryan, who had just won the title, and saying to himself, "What? This is your champion? This scruffy, tiny guy?" I doubt that happened. But I get it. I am in the camp that believes that Big Cass is doing excellent promo work. He's really, really improved. I've said it last week and I'm going to say it again. I think the main problem he has right now is that his promos are too long. They can be shortened up. They tighten them up, shorten them up. He's doing 5-minute promos when he really shouldn't. He should scale it back a bit. Like, he's good, but he doesn't command an audience like Miz can or Joe can. He needs to dial it back. Creative has to work with his strengths right now. 5-minute promos are not doing Cass any good. His promos feel rambling. They need to be a bit shorter. And he has to get off the fact of, I'm going to be Daniel Bryan because I'm big. Come on. Have you seen, by the way, I'm taping this on Wednesday morning on the 7th. Is it the 7th? What day are we today? The 6th, June 6th. Wait, I was screwed up in my dates. Raw was on the 4th. SmackDown's on the 5th. That's why I'm drinking coffee. I'm taping this on Wednesday morning the 6th. And Daniel Bryan, WWE.com had a promo of Daniel Bryan destroying Big Cass. Have you seen this? If you haven't seen it, go to WWE.com. Look for this promo. It is fantastic. People who say Daniel Bryan can't cut a promo will be shut up instantly. It is brilliant. And thank God they didn't air that on TV, because that would have killed Cass right then and there. It's a masterstroke. It's a killing blow as far as promos go. Bryan was amazing. Basically going, you keep saying that I won't survive in a big man's world. Not only have I survived, I have succeeded. What are you talking about? Oh man, no, seriously. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on WWE.com. It's excellent. Or on my Twitter feed. I retweeted it this morning. I'm at Mr. Warren Hayes. Sin Cara's backstage, getting interviewed. How do you feel about being snubbed last week? Oh, I know. I've known Andrade since my age of 14. I don't even know if this is the Sin Cara who would actually know Andrade. Like, I don't even know who Sin Cara is anymore. It's so confusing. But then, and then he says, something happened that changed Andrade, essentially. Cue Zelina Vega, who comes and once again verbally murders Sin Cara. But here's the funny thing. She comes in and she says, something happened? Excuse me. I am not just a thing. I am the best thing that happened to Andrade. I'm like, what? You're not a thing, but you're the best thing that... But I understood what she meant. So she took offense to that. And she started cutting him down. And then requested and then told Sin Cara that he has a match against Andrade Cien Almas next week. And Andrade runs in and attacks Sin Cara viciously, spouts some stuff off in Spanish. If my Spanish was better, I'm working on it. I'm working on my Spanish. I've got my Duolingo account open. I think I'm at basic 3. I'm getting there. I'll be able to jive, with whatever Andrade has to say. So that'll be good. I'm looking forward to that. Sin Cara Sin Cara versus Andrade next week. I always look forward to Almas in the ring. We're down to our main event now. The New Day versus Miz and Rusev and Samoa Joe. This was a fun match. Again, and I think everything was really, really good. I thought the ending was so-so. I'm not sure what the ending. Well, I do know what the ending was for. The ending was to remind us that it's every man for himself in the Money in the Bank match. There are no alliances. Ah, drive it home. Ah, I love the New Day's chain offense when Kofi and Xavier at first, start trading blows. Then Big E comes in with the big splash. I'm a sucker for that. Joe versus Big E, right? That's a lot of humanity when you look at those two guys together. Big E hits a big belly to belly on Joe. What are some other highlights here? Samoa Joe baits Big E to the outside of the ring so Rusev can come take him out. There's a big hot tag at some point from Kofi. Kofi, man, he's so good. He hits a reverse flying body press on Miz. It's just crazy. Finally, Miz hits a big DDT on Kofi, who sells it like a beast. Biggie gets a Uranagi, a sit down Uranagi by Samoa Joe. I wish Samoa Joe would start saying sit down again. I miss that. Xavier Woods does a somersault dive onto Rusev outside. Did you see this spot? He does a somersault dive to the outside, and Rusev sort of tries to catch him, but he overshoots a little, and he literally slides off Rusev's back. Rusev is sort of like that looked rough. Bit of a rough landing. We get towards and then there's a whole sequence of chaos. Miz swings Samoa Joe into Big E. Big E sidesteps. Kofi pulls top rope down, so Joe flies to the outside. Miz tries to get Big E into the skull crushing finale. Meanwhile, Kofi does a trust fall onto Samoa Joe off the top, in the middle of the ring, from the apron to the outside, off the top rope. And from the camera angle, it just looked like it was nuts. It just looked so. I don't know what I was looking at. I don't know what was seeing. It's like all of a sudden Kofi disappears. It was crazy. I didn't know what was going on. So he does this trust fall onto Joe. Then Big E breaks out of the skull crushing finale attempt, flings Miz onto the apron, and follows right with a shoulder tackle to the outside. And this happened in a really quick sequence. That was crazy. I was popping. I couldn't believe what was happening. Couldn't keep up. Shoulder tackle to the outside, so everyone's sort of out. Then shortly after that, Xavier Woods is taken out with the Coquina clutch. Kofi eats a Machka kick, and Miz starts to direct traffic inside the ring. Big E's inside the ring. He gets Joe and Rusev to come and hold Big E so that he can start delivering pancakes to Big E because he's fed up with this pancake crap. I think it's Kofi who comes in, tries to and distracts Miz long enough for Miz to turn around, throw the pancakes on Big E, but actually throws them on Rusev and Joe, who actually get the pancakes, who actually eat the pancake spot. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. Words. And then it's every man for himself. Machka kick by Rusev on Miz. Senton by Samoa Joe. Kofi gets back into the ring. Midnight Hour. Big E, Kofi hit the Midnight Hour on Miz for the pin. We still don't know which of the New Day is going to be in Money in the Bank. If you ask me, should be Xavier Woods. And the main reason why is because out of the three New Day fellows, only Xavier Woods Xavier Woods is the only one of the three who isn't perceived, who doesn't have the perception of being a legit singles competitor. We know that, Kofi has held championships. He came in as a single wrestler. He's been U.S. champ, and so on and so forth. Big E has had a great run in NXT. He actually had a singles push for a while. I think Xavier Woods. I'm a big Xavier Woods fan. I think he should be in the match. I think he will add a lot to it. I don't think it's going to be Big E. As far as big dudes in the match go, we have Braun Strowman, we have Samoa Joe, we have Rusev, and there's another big guy that I'm missing that I can't think of for some reason. Joe, Braun, Rusev. Who am I missing? There's another really big dude. Anyway, my point is that I think there's more than enough meat mountains in the ring. Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is a big guy. He's like, 270? They're billing him 270? Those are big guys. I think we should. I don't think they should add another large competitor into the fight. I think that's Kofi. Everyone says, imagine what Kofi is going to do with a ladder. We've seen Kofi in ladder matches before. We know what he can do. And if you ask me, the New Day is going to be involved in this match. Remember, ladder matches are no disqualifications. They're going to be involved in the match. We're probably going to see Kofi do something crazy with a ladder. I wouldn't be surprised. I really think Xavier is the perfect man for the job. It'll help establish him as well as get some singles cred. Because I think that they're moving the New Day a little more into a stable perception. Not as much of a tag team as a stable. And I'm fine with that. You don't have to break them up. I honestly don't think they should break up the New Day ever, because they always seem to surprise us. And the minute that we all sit around saying, "Oh man, their act is getting really stale," they pull out something. They pull out a match. They do something together that you're like, "Wow, these guys just never let up," and they probably sell a lot of merch. So that's another reason not to break them up. Anyway, so the match was fine. It was entertaining. It was good. Establishes the fact that it's every man for themselves. This was a fun edition of SmackDown. There was a really, really fun, entertaining bit of SmackDown. I think the low point was Luke Harper versus Carl Anderson. And otherwise, we had great stuff from top to bottom. Definitely the superior show from WWE's main roster offerings this week. Unquestionably. SmackDown's on a roll, man. It's funny I don't see much of the Fire Road Dog hashtag on Twitter anymore, oddly enough. What's the hashtag to fire someone on Raw? Guys, I hope you enjoyed spending some time with me. I definitely am very appreciative that you decided to have me be a part of your busy day today. Thank you very much for watching/listening. If you want more, feel free to subscribe. Feel free to follow me on Twitter too. I'm there quite a bit at Mr. Warren Hayes. And there you have it. Another edition in the can. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next time.